Hi, everybody. I'm Debbie Bellis with Qigong with Debbie, and I am going to talk today about balance. I teach, most of my students are over the age of 55, and we kind of have, over the age of 55, our body starts to change, quite a bit, and sometimes rapidly also. And balance is one of those parts of our body that we need to pay some attention to. So, for instance, I was at the airport over the weekend traveling, and it was extremely busy. I was very delayed. Actually, it was canceled. I was at the airport for 14 hours, and I had to I was by myself. I had to schlep my suitcase and all my belongings, and I had to keep moving around and going up and down elevators, and the airport was very crowded. I had to really be mindful of how I moved because, for one thing, I didn't want to fall. I was by myself, and I just felt overwhelmed by everything. And the balance really comes in play in those kind of situations, but really every day. It's one of the things that put people in the hospital. An older population typically will fall and then end up in the hospital. So then in rehab and so on and so forth. So we want to kind of prevent falls from happening. We also want to feel connected to the earth also. And it's not just about having a strong muscular system to keep your balance. It really is more than that. And it's these little nuances that I want to talk about that can make a really big difference. So that's what this is going to be about today. So it starts with our eyes, our inner ears, our tongue, our feet, especially starting from the feet up, actually. So from the feet to the inner edges of your legs to your core. And then we work up with the eyes, the ears, and so forth. So I want to start with the feet. So the feet are like your fingers. And if there's no mobility in the toes, your toes especially, if there's not a lot of mobility in the toes, then it's going to be hard to keep your gait. And we want to keep the toes really limber, the whole foot, the ankle. I mean, the whole leg, but especially the feet. This is where it starts is with the feet. And I have this is a really cool thing. So they're toe separators. And it's similar to, when you get a pedicure, they separate your toes so you don't get nail polish all over. But this is similar. This is flexible. They're not like those hard, stiff toe separators, although you can use those also. But these are a little bit softer on the foot. But what we do is, and excuse I'm not trying to be rude, but this is my foot with the foot one separator on. So you can see, what it's doing. It's really separating my feet. And you want that in the foot. And what happens is a lot of times from poor shoes, our toes get really compressed. And that's just going to keep you off balance. So if you are pronated or supinated in your feet, which means you carry too much weight in the inside of the foot or you carry too much weight in the outside of the foot, it's not only going to affect your foot, it's going to affect the ankle, it's going to affect your knee, it's going to affect your hip, it's going to affect your whole posture. So we want to really keep the foot, the feet, the toes very limber and spread apart. And the best way to do it is to get these toe tapers. So you can get these online. You can get them usually you might find them also like in a drugstore, something like that. They're not expensive, but I highly recommend doing these. Now, I've had mine on for about 2 hours. But once you're first starting, you might want to just try half an hour to start and then kind of work your way up. But you'll notice a huge difference when you take them off. It's kind of like it feels like I just created more space in my whole body. That's how it feels. So for now, I'm going to show you how to do it with your fingers, with your toes, and then if you can, try to get something like this. Or you can also use cotton, roll it around your feet. These are just easier to definitely use. So I'll show you first with just taking, again, excuse my foot, just taking your foot, and you'll take your other hand and just take your fingers, and each finger will separate your toes. Now, this might at first hurt a little bit. You'll notice how tight your toes are to each other when you do this. So this is just a way to, again, gauge how your toes are doing. And And then you'll realize that, oh yeah, my feet are really congested in my, wearing different kinds of shoes. Now the summer's coming up and a lot of us wear flip-flops. So this is a good time to also do this toe separate with flip-flops on. It might be easier than walking around barefoot. But as you can see, so you're going to separate. So just start with that by taking your fingers and bringing them between each toe. Now, it might be really tight and it might be really hard to do, and that's okay. And if that is the case, you can also start with just doing one toe at a time, like take one finger and just hold it, in that toe. And then maybe go to the other one and try it that way. That might be easier to do than to do all of them at the same time. For now, I'll show you how to put these on. Again, they're pretty easy to do. So that's my first one, and then I'll put my second one on. And the third one on. You can also wear these at night. That's a good time to also do this. And you want to remember, think of your toes as fingers. Now, think about if your fingers are all fused together, then it becomes like you have a club rather than, fingers. And try to think about how would you manage with a club rather than fingers. So it's the same thing there you go. It's the same thing. I'm not going to wear these for the class. And I also exercise with these on. It's the same thing as your toes. So you want to keep that space between the toes. We also have energy lines that come through the feet. You might have heard of reflexology. Reflexology is a map to your whole body. So we don't want it that congested, the toes congested, the feet congested, because you want to be able to walk with your toes separated because you're getting that energetic impulse from the earth. On your feet, and that energy moves through your body. So we want to make sure that we are completely open in the toes, especially. So that's where we're going to start. The other thing is your eyes. So just your vision. Your vision takes about 70% of your brain activity. It's a massive component of your movement. So every time you're taking in, vision, 70% is part of that brain activity. Then that brain activity starts in the cerebellum where you take in your vision, you take, what you're seeing, and then it processes in the lower part of your brain, and that will turn on the brain activity as far as what you need to be doing. It's a big component in movement is the eyes. The vestibular I had mentioned the inner ear. So the inner ear also helps with balance. There's these like little sensory nerve endings in the vestibular, which is the inner ear, to help you process through the sight, help you move. And basically it helps you to keep your place in space. So, we need that to keep our balance. Then if we align our feet, we align our body, which we're going to do today. We're going to also work with the eyes and moving our eyes around to exercise them. And then we're going to do some balancing movements. And you're going to see probably a big difference by just doing these simple things. Now, I do this every day, especially with my eyes. I've had some issues with my eyes. I had cataracts a couple of years ago. And I get this pain in my eyes, but since I have been doing these exercises, which I actually don't know why they don't teach you this at your eye doctors, it has helped so much with my eyes not hurting as much. So I'll show you what that is, and it's very simple. Now you can use like a stick, or you can use like a pen, or you can simply just use your finger to help with this movement. Now we have 6 muscles in each eye. And like anything else, if you're not using them, you lose it. You don't use it, you lose it. And also, when we're doing these exercises, it's going to help more with your peripheral vision. You want to be able to see in a pretty big scope around you, especially without even moving the head, but because that's just a safety thing too. But remember, the vision uses 70% of our brain activity. That is a lot. So it's important to keep the vision optimized, keeping it strong. So this is a really good exercise. It's part of keeping your balance. So we're simply going to take, I'll just use my finger for now. And you want to be about, nose height. And then move your arm out, as far as you can comfortably. And then you're just simply focusing without turning your head, without moving your head. You're just looking at the finger coming in, and then you're going to move the finger away. So you're just moving the finger in towards the nose. You might go cross-eyed and then move it away. Now take your time with this. Also make sure you're breathing. Don't hold your breath like with anything else. We want to keep that breath active. And we're moving and we're starting to strengthen the muscles around the eye. Your vision is giving you information to the brain. Your vestibular is the inner ear, is starting to process, okay, what's this movement? How does this affect me? How's my inner ear going to help me with keeping my place in space? And that's what we're doing. So now we're going to keep the head center. You're just looking over, bring your finger over to your left, and you're looking just at the finger, coming back to center, bringing the finger over to the right without moving your head. You're looking at the finger. So for me, I notice my eye is a little bit weaker when I bring it over to my right. Now you're going to notice also each time you do this, you might get a little bit more vision on the side of your, the peripheral vision might start to open up a little bit. So it's kind of like opening up some areas of your body that's dormant when I'm talking about, doing Qigong and Tai Chi. Different directional movement is also important for the body, but it's also important for the eyes to do directional movement. We're very one-planed. We don't do a lot of different kinds of movement, and that's why I stress a lot in my classes is moving the body in many different directions. Now we're going to do the clock. So go in one direction around. Again, you're not moving your head. You're only moving your eyes. So we're strengthening the muscles around the eye. We're starting to activate the brain to see maybe a little bit wider. It's very beneficial for any kind of movement that you do, that you work on this part of the eye system. And now we're going to go to the other direction. You're making a big circle with your hand, not moving the head, and you're really activating those muscles. Now I tell people to try to do this at least once a day, and if not, and you could do more, maybe do 3 times a day. I did this when I got canceled for my plane and I'm in the room by myself, and I have to get up super early. I had to get up at 3 o'clock to get to the airport by 4, and I felt really tired, and I did this so I can start turning on my brain and getting my vision and getting ready for that activity at that airport. Now you're going to look up towards again, not moving the head, which is hard to do. Look up towards your right. Bring the finger down and look down without moving your head down to your right. So we're just going to go from one corner. So it's hard sometimes not to move your head, and then go to the other corner. We'll do the other side. We're going to take one corner, take it down to the other corner. Again, without moving your head, you're just moving your eyes. If it hurts, then, you can stop. Take your time. It's like exercising something new. The brain's going, what are you doing? And then you can release. Now we're going to look down at your left shoulder and then turn the head and look up at the right corner. So you're looking down. This time we are moving our head a little bit and we're lifting up, but we're using our eyes also to make the movement. And then back to center. We'll do this again. You're going to look down at your right shoulder. Look up at the ceiling towards your left, and you're going to go making this crossing over with your eyes and with your neck. So we're really prepping ourselves to turn on the brain activity, turn on the vestibular inner ear to help us with balance, and then come back to center. Now you're going to rub your hands briskly, create some heat within the hands, and then place them on your eyelids as you close your eyes, as you soothe the eyes, since we, worked them. Take some deep breaths also, very important. And then we'll release. Now we're going to do a little bit more activity to help with coordination and eye movement again. taking your left hand, you're just gonna kind of, don't pinch the nose all the way, just kind of touch your nose, and with your right finger, you're gonna touch your left ear. And then place the hands on your lap. Now take the other hand, placing the right hand on the nose and your left finger on your earlobe, and then release. And then you're gonna go back and forth doing this. Now, at first, it seems a little cumbersome to do, and that's okay. This is part of the practice. This will help to, create that coordination to help with the balancing. Now, once you kind of feel like you got it, then do it a little quicker. And again, don't worry about if you're not doing it right, or this is really, it's an activity to help with that fast release of movement. Also, what you need in everyday life is being able to get out of the way. It's about, driving, being able to get out of a situation that you might be getting into. You want to have that quick response to different situations, and this helps with that. It helps with quick response. It helps you to work the right and left brain hemisphere, and it gets a little bit easier as you do it. So that's one. The next one is you're going to, let me come back so you can see this. You're going to slap your hands, cross them over on the lap. When you come back, the palms are straight up, and then you clap. So we're bringing the hands onto the thighs. You're crossing them over. Palms of the hands are up this time, and then you clap. So let's give that a go. You can take your time with it. Start just to kind of get the form of it. If it's difficult, then maybe, hey, I need a little bit more of these kinds of exercises to get my brain activity going, to get my brain activity ready for the day, so I can navigate my place in space no matter where I'm at, so you don't feel confused or foggy. It's even good for brain fog to do these exercises. And then again, once you get it, then do it a little faster. And then you'll get it, and then you might not get it. Some days are better than others, actually. Sometimes I can do this easily, and other days I can't. So it just depends on the day and where you're at. But these few little exercises, this is all going to help, and you'll notice with your balancing. And then stop. Now we can come to standing and try some balancing practices. Now, you can have a chair nearby if you need it for any of this, but even a wall is good to have nearby in case you need it. So I was talking about the feet. So I've got my feet separators on. If you don't have that, probably not now, but separate your feet as much as you can. So I want you to lift your toes up, and then try to separate the toes as much as you can, and then place them on the earth. So this is where we're making contact with the earth. Now, the next thing is to separate the feet away from each other. It's an isometric movement. It's going to activate your core. So we start from the feet up, press the feet away from each other, like you're spreading the mat between your feet, isometric movement. And you want to feel, when you do this, you're going to feel your arches lifting up when you do that. Before you do that also, so we've got that stance with the feet, arches are lifted up, core is engaged. I just want you to move forward and back on the feet for a second. We want to have most of our weight on the heels. 60% of your weight should be on the heels. So I want you to recognize where you keep most of your weight when you're standing. Typically, when I notice right away is I have too much weight on the front of my feet than my heels. The other thing you might notice is you might be pronated, which means your feet come in. And sometimes you start to see knock-kneed happening, which is not a good plan for that to start happening. You might notice this in some people, that you see them actually knock-kneed. That means their arches is dropped and they're not stable. Or you might be externally, supinated means all your weight's on the outside edges of the feet, and that can be rough on the hips especially, and also on the knees. So pronation means you're internally rotating the inner thighs and the legs too much. Supinated means you're externally rotating the thighs too much. and it's going to aggravate your knee. So from the feet up to the hips has a lot to do with how you're positioning your feet, how you're positioning your legs. Because if you're over tweaked in the foot, I'm exaggerating this, but I'm going to really lean over to the outside edge of my foot. I could feel it in my hip already. I could feel my knee twisting. If you're too pronated, again, same issue. And I'm very pronated, so when my knees start to hurt, when my hips start to hurt, I know I need to correct my stance. So we don't want all of that twisting, because it's gonna affect the gait, the whole gait of your posture. So feeling rooted down, separating the toes into the earth, feeling the pulsating of the earth below your feet, engaging that core, engaging the inner thighs all the way up to your core, and then we come to the pelvic region. Now, if you're sway back, which I am sway back, and I'm exaggerating it, pretend like I'm holding a bowl. If I'm sway back, the water's going to pour out of my bowl. If it's too tucked in, I'm holding a bowl, it's going to fall on me. So you can see that we don't want to sway back. We don't want to be leaning forward too much in the pubic bone. We want to, again, finding that just right position. So I kind of want you to just move that pubic or the pelvis, tipping it and tucking it in, tipping it and then tucking it in and finding your just right position. And we do want to still keep a little bit of a curve in the low back, but find that region that feels the most comfortable for you. Now, it might feel uncomfortable because you might not be used to standing this way. And now we're going to lift the shoulders up to our ears. You're going to slide your shoulder blades back because we tend to roll forward too much. And then slide those shoulder blades down to your waist. Now the tongue, I mentioned the tongue. I want you to lift the tongue to the roof of your mouth. And notice there's a little ridge when you have the tongue, not in front of the teeth, on top of that ridge of your mouth. It's like a little ledge there. You can just drop the tongue right there. And that just helps to open up this whole part of your neck, tucking the chin in just slightly instead of leaning forward with the chin. So you're getting your whole body in that alignment. Arms are just at your side. And just notice how that feels and correct whatever you need to correct. So this is very important. Correct what you need to correct in your body. The vision comes in here. I want you to find one pointedness in front of you and don't veer off. You're just looking at that one pointedness in front of you. You're going to bring the weight on your left leg, and then you're going to touch the toes of your right foot. So we're pushing down through that leg and we're pushing down through the toes. Everything's engaged here. Your toes are separated, your core's engaged, your tongue's at the roof of the mouth, your shoulders resting towards the back of the spine, your chin is tucked in. You're gazing on something in front of you. Take your hands and you can either press them down like kickstands of a bike, or you can also hold them in front of you like you're holding, how tightrope. You ever see somebody, those things where people are walking on a tightrope? They carry a big pole. You can pretend that you're holding one of those. Or if you need to, one finger only, not a hand, you can hold onto a chair or a wall for a little bit of support. When you're ready, then lift the knee up, focusing on that one point. You can engage the foot also, and your body will shake, and that's okay. You're using your whole muscular system to balance on one leg, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to navigate our place in space. The inner ear is going to help you find your balance with your eyes, taking in 70% of your vision through the eyes, goes into the cerebellum, the part of the brain that helps to process what you're doing, processing that vision coming into the body. Your inner ear is finding its balance. And notice if you're balancing pretty well. That's all you have to do. And then release. Now we're going to bring the weight on the right leg, similar to what we did before. You're coming on the toes of the left. So get the form ready. Before do that, come back to your stance and activate everything again. Activate the feet, activate the inner core, activate the pelvis, activate the shoulders, activate your tongue, and look straight ahead on one point. Now bring the weight on that right leg, on the toes of the left. So this is where the balancing exercise is coming. It's just simply standing on one leg, and that's all we're going to do today. Kickstand the hands, either really press down or make little fists with the hands like you're holding onto a bar. It's up to you, it feels, or you can also bring your hands to your hips. I prefer, this is what I prefer, is pressing down, because we're pressing down through the earth. We're lengthening up through the sky, through the crown of the head. So we've got these two energies. One is rooting down through the legs, and the other one is lifting us up. So you want to feel lifted up and strong at the same time. When you're ready, focus on one point, and then start to lift the left knee up. And see how you do on this side. Let the body calculate. Let it calculate what you're doing in space. So you'll feel a little off balance, but the whole muscular system is being used here just to recalibrate itself through the inner ear, through the eyes, through the breath. It's okay to wiggle. That's what the body's, it's meant to do, to try to stand on one leg. This is going to be an indication if you need some more balance work in your routines. Then let's just shake it out. We're going to do it one more time. Again, we're just keeping this really simple, because this in itself will really be a good indication for you if you need to do this practice a little, daily. So we'll start again. Start with the feet. Separate those toes, lifting up the arches, engaging the legs, engaging the core. Move that pelvis forward and back and find that just right position. You're going to lift those shoulders up, slide the shoulder blades back and slide them down to your waist. Tongue to the roof of the mouth, tuck your chin in slightly. And notice where you're carrying your weight. Remember, 60% of the weight should be on your heels. You can soften the knees if you like. That might, don't lock the knees too much. And just find, if you're too far in, too far out with the feet, or you're too far forward, too far back, find your stance. So this is your alignment for your day. This is where you want to start. Anytime you start any activity is here. Now we're going to start the balancing. So now we focus on one point, real important. Do whatever you want to do with the hands to help support this. The weight is going to be on your left leg. We're going to come onto the toes of the right. And when you're ready, then you lift up the knee. So this is a little bit easier for me the second time. I am recalibrating. I could feel my body shaking and trying to find its place in space through my eyes, through my brain, through the inner ear, and breathe, and through the lengthening in the core. And then we'll release. So now bring the weight now on the left leg. Do everything, the feet, the inner core, the pelvis, the shoulders, the tongue to the roof of the mouth, tuck in the chin, and then come onto the toes of the left. And then when you're ready, lift that knee up. Let their body recalibrate through the vision, focusing on one point, through your inner ear, balancing. Find your breath. Feel that balancing. Is it any easier now? That's what you want to notice. Is it any easier than the first time you did it? And that's it. That's the routine of finding your balance, starting with the feet. Now maybe get those toe separators. And then try this exercise often. If anything, do this. Try the eye exercise too. That alone is just good for your eyes anyway. It also helps sometimes with droopy eyes. Sometimes the droopy eyes, it's the muscle that needs some strengthening, and doing these exercises might strengthen that and prevent that droopy eye syndrome. So that's it. I hope you liked it. Try it. That's all I tell people. Give it a try. See if it makes a difference. If you like it, do it often, do it daily, because that's the only way the body's going to really repair itself. It's going to help with your balance. It's going to help with your stability. It's going to help with your posture too. We don't want to start leaning forward. That's not a good plan either, because it's how we fall. We bring too much weight on the forward of our body, and we don't want to do that. Most of the weight, remember, is on the heels. 60% is on your heels. 70% of your vision helps to coordinate your body. 70% is brain activity just through vision. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. If you like my videos, subscribe. There's a little subscribe button too. Just hit that and you'll get all my new videos as I try to get one out at least once a week. Thank you so much for joining me, and namaste to all of you. Thank you.